Hey, what's going on, guys? Gillis TV back here today with another Oilers video. Of course, I try to do an Oilers one now every day with all the other news going on in the NHL. So make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Oilers and NHL content. And, there's some news out of Edmonton today. We all knew it was coming. Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers have mutually agreed to part ways at the end of his contract, which I believe is Sunday at midnight, right before free agency, so 11:59 that night. So the Oilers will not have Ken Holland at the draft. I believe, there were rumblings this year that it was Jeff Jackson's show, and I don't think Ken Holland had the full leverage of doing what he wanted. I think he had to go through Jeff Jackson and whatnot, and that probably, we all knew he wasn't coming back, but that probably had something to do with how everything was slow process, because last year, Kenny Holland was deal this, deal that, deal this, and this year was like, hey, let's take our time, make sure we want to do it, and that wasn't just Ken Holland's way of doing things. I believe it was the Jeff Jackson show for sure, but hey, Ken Holland taking over this team May of 2019, I believe it was, and we made the playoffs 5 straight years. Ken Holland has been the best GM the Oilers have had since, you can arguably say Kevin Lowe's time was pretty good, but that he wasn't the best, but that's probably since Kevin Lowe that we had a GM that actually put us in a spot to win. We made the Stanley Cup Finals under him. We made the Western Conference Finals. A lot of heartbreak in that, but we made the playoffs, and that's all the fans wanted in Edmonton was, can we make the playoffs and get through this darkness? And Ken Holland put this team in a really good spot in the most part. Of course, there were some questionable signings and whatnot, trades he did, Anthony Ciu, Mike Green, those trades were kind of like, I guess so. The signing of Darnell Nurse, everyone's going to say, hey, leave the guy alone. I like Darnell Nurse. He's not $9 million, but that's where the standard was when he signed that extension. I believe he's a $6 to $7 million defenseman. So we overpaid for him a little bit, but hey, that's kind of one that I'll say was kind of on Ken Holland at the time. Another one, we all know this, Jack Campbell. We don't need a $5 million goalie in the AHL. So with that being said, buyout windows are now open, so we'll see if Jack Campbell gets bought out or what the Oilers are going to be doing. And that's only good till Sunday because of free agency, so that's what I read here, which is kind of funny to think about. And then, of course, Zach Kassian, that deal, having to trade a second, or I believe it was a second to Arizona to get rid of Zach Kassian. As much as I'm a Zach Kassian fan, that was a little bit too much money, but there, of course, was the bigger deals. You got Matthias Ekholm out of left field. No one thought we were getting someone like Matthias Ekholm, and look what he's done for Evan Bouchard. And look at his numbers since coming to Edmonton, playing with Bouchard, playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. The Hyman contract, the Nugent-Hopkins contract, both stellar guys scoring 100 points and only making $5 million a year. Now, arguably, you can throw Kane into that when he was let go by the San Jose Sharks. Sorry, my eyes just itchy there. By the time he got let go of the San Jose Sharks, that was good. The contract after, right now, it started good, but now it's kind of slowly dwindling to one of those, do we trade him, do we buy him out situation. So, Ken Holland and the Oilers have mutually parted ways at the end of his contract, and like I said, he's left us in a good spot for whoever comes in next. He came in May 2019. I was reading Bob Stauffer's post here. I just got to try and find Bob Stauffer's post. Here it is. So, Ken Holland inherited a 25th place team in May of 2019, and his 5-year tenure with the Oilers had the second best point percentage in the Western Conference, so that's the win percentage, .633, and in the last 3 playoffs, Edmonton's won the second most playoff games with 29, and more than any other 6 Canadian teams combined. So, like I said, Ken Holland's leaving these Edmonton Oilers in a good spot. I know a big question mark on Leon Draisaitl right now. But with that being said, we can make a different video about Leon Draisaitl. I think it's more the fact that he's just heartbroken right now. They were one win away. The whole team was like that. Watching the press conference yesterday, it was really hard to watch, except for Janmark. He was really like, hey, I've been kind of through this before. Janmark was really good with his choice of words and wanting to come back. Same with Connor Brown. I know this year a lot of us, I'll admit myself, came down on Connor Brown a lot. But hey, those playoffs, it was about time he showed up, and him and Janmark on that penalty kill was magnificent. So there's another one that you could say, well, the money, of course, was the problem with Ken Holland's tenure with the Edmonton Oilers. I think that signing bonus to Connor Brown, if that wasn't in there, I think we'd be talking in a different scenario at the start of the season for Connor Brown. It's just what it is. And then, of course, the Darnell Nurse money, which, like I said, I think he's a $6-7 million defenseman. He's not a $9+ million defenseman. So there's that. But hey, there is going to be a press conference today in about half an hour with Jeff Jackson to discuss Ken Holland's departure and what's going to be next with the Edmonton Oilers. I can't remember the name that was rolling around, halfway through the season there, but hey, props to Ken Holland for doing a good job. If I had to rate his tenure with the Oilers from an A+ to F-, I'd say a B+, easily, maybe squeaking into the A- scenario there too. So good on Ken Holland. He was risking our first round picks, and you know what? By risking those first round picks, we got Matthias Ekholm for 3-4 more years at the time of that trade. You gave one up for Adam Henrique, who was a key contributor in the playoffs for you. Sam Carrick, of course, got injured in the playoffs, but he was key throughout the season too for the Edmonton Oilers. One thing I wish Ken Holland would have tried to do was either upgrade on Kulak or Ceci, which he couldn't do this year due to the fact that I think they were in on Chris Tanev, and he was not waiving his no-trade clause to go to Edmonton. So there's that, but hey, that's it for me today. Ken Holland and the Edmonton Oilers parting ways mutually. And of course, like I said, in 29 more minutes, there's going to be a press conference here. Hopefully I could get this out before that starts. But thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Gillis TV. You guys have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one.